Thanks to a new constitution, AUSA officers are going to be held more accountable.
We bust some of the myths surrounding porn addiction.
Who are those older players creating a stir in the basketball courts?
We track the Alumni basketball team's road to the championships.
Plus, this week in Andrew's history.
And what are you doing this summer?
AU News starts right now.
This is AU News.
Welcome to AU News. I'm Kenny Nogueira.
And I'm Fonda Mwangi. AU News is produced by the Advanced News Production class in the Department of Communication.
The new AUSA Constitution was passed by a 2/3 majority vote during last week's assembly. Besides making the governing body more legitimate, it will hold each cabinet member more accountable. Lucero Castellanos has more on what's behind the big change.
As any other government, AUSA requires a constitution for structure and order.
In the case of AUSA, we're in charge of $250,000 a year, so a constitution is definitely important to make sure we're spending the money correctly.
The last time a constitution was passed was back in the 1970s.
It talks about having quarter systems and just systems that we don't use anymore. They also talked about different committees that obviously haven't been used in years. I've been here for 4 years and I've never heard of one of the committees in the Constitution. So how can AUSA use a Constitution that is outdated?
AUSA's goal was to create a constitution that would accurately represent the goals, beliefs, and guidelines of the government body.
As a member of AUSA, they're paying dues. It's a little bit over $60 a year that they're paying to AUSA. So we're handling a lot of their money.
All undergraduate students taking at least 7 credits is a part of AUSA. As members of AUSA, students have a right to share their opinions on how their government is being run.
AUSA was working outside of what it was supposed to do. So we wanted to change the law to make it so we were following our rules in hopes that they will continue to follow the rules in future years.
The changes made to the Constitution not only formulate the process by which AUSA governs, but also allow students the opportunity to hold their officers accountable.
The Constitution provides a structure by which students can critique what AUSA is doing, by which they can have some say in how AUSA spends the money. It's the whole basis for our representation, and so I just think it's really important that the document that we have be one that can be followed.
After almost 3 years of work, the Constitution has finally been passed and will be in full effect this coming fall semester, 2015. This is Lucero Castellanos for AU News.
They suffer in silence, feeling ashamed and sometimes abandoned with God. Porn addiction has such an ugly stigma. I spoke with a student and an expert here on our campus, and they're hoping to change all that. Jonathan Brastington's addiction to porn started innocently.
My older brother's friend was over, and he was watching me play these games online, and he just said, "Hey, type in nakedwomen.com."
It's a familiar story to Adrian Martson.
About like 9th grade when I started to be like active sexually, and then that led to pornography as well.
Dr. Hinman, assistant professor in the Department of Graduate Psychology and Counseling, says these student stories are not that uncommon.
The typical person that's addicted to pornography has usually been exposed at an early age before their sexual interests or sexuality has been established.
But Hinman says people often mistake what drives addiction forward.
The number 1 and number 2 reasons that men tend to access pornography compulsively is from stress and from boredom.
It would get late and I would be stressed. I'd have assignments due, deadlines. So to deal with that, I'd look at pornography for an hour, 2 hours, at the most 3 hours until 1, 2 in the morning.
Pornography doesn't only affect you, but also your relationships.
Caused a distance, a separation in my relationship with God, to the point where I just didn't feel worthy to ask for forgiveness for anything.
Compulsively looking at pornography addiction is a very shame-based, it's very isolating, you feel alone. And particularly if you're in a religious organization, if you're in a Christian church, especially a Christian church that has rules and standards that you're supposed to uphold and live by and agree to. It even drives that even further into a shame-based place.
As hard as overcoming an addiction can be, there's always hope.
There is help out there. You know, if you find yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in and you don't know how to get out of that situation, whether it's pornography or anything else, you know, seek help.
You may not always have to go through things by yourself. There are people out there that truly love you and care for you enough to help you overcome it.
This is Fonda Mwangi reporting for AU News. A group meets each semester, and you can find out more by visiting or calling the Counseling and Testing Center.
They may look a little heavier and grayer than the average student, but these players are proof that age is nothing but a number. Stella Ng takes us courtside with the Alumni Intramural basketball team.
There were many teams who participated in Basketball Intramurals 2015, but one team stood out above the rest.
The Alumni basketball team made it to the championship game with an impeccable record. Many were wondering about how did they get it so far.
I think the Alumni team is so unique because they've played together for so long. They have so much chemistry.
The team's unique chemistry allowed them to finish the regular season strong, earning a spot in the playoffs. Evan Rory, AU News sports reporter, spoke with a member in the team.
Well, I don't know that we're that good, but we do have experience, and it's just a group of older guys that get together. We do play together Sunday mornings at the academy, so we're familiar with each other a little bit.
Their familiarity with each other is evident on the court, but so is their wisdom.
We're older, so we can't make those wow plays like the younger guys, so we're content to make extra passes, maybe catch our breath on offense.
Though the team easily secured a spot in the playoffs, securing the championship game would prove to be difficult.
We're tired. We're tired.
Okay.
And we need, you play 2 games a week during the season. We prefer to play Monday and Thursday because we need a few days to recuperate.
Right. Okay,
Young guys, they can play night after night. So this week in the playoffs is going to be really tough for us because we've got to play every night going forward.
The Alumni basketball team won their 3 playoff games, paving the way to the championship game. They share some advice for teams who wish to make it as far in the future tournaments.
Well, to me, I always say watch college basketball more than pros. I think that the younger generation looks more for the highlight reel plays, and so they're all ready to make a big play. When you actually, if you watch college more, you're playing more fundamental basketball. You actually see the game. You make the extra pass, and those little things make a big difference.
This is Stella Ng reporting for AU News.
The Alumni basketball team lost in the final game.
Evan Rory brings us the highlights from the road to the Intramural Basketball Championship.
Hey guys, and welcome to another Andrews University Sports News segment. As always, I'm your host, Evan Rory, and currently I am in Johnson Gym where the B-League basketball tournament has just finished in a championship game. The Alumni team unexpectedly lost this game with a 36-18 loss, giving the PT team the B-League champions of 2015 here on Andrews campus. This is Evan Rory, and for AU News, we'll see you guys again next time.
This week in Andrews history. It was on April 15, 1959 when our school was voted a new name, Lake Michigan University. The new name was needed because there was a merger between Emmanuel Missionary College and Potomac University, which was moving to Michigan from the Washington, D.C. area. However, the local campus didn't like the name. It took another year of suggestions and discussions before, on April 4, 1960, the board voted to adopt the new name, Andrews University, in honor of J.N. Andrews, our first missionary, a scholarly and dedicated man. And although some felt the new name was better suited for the graduate school and seminary, the name would eventually win over others and stick.
Another school year has come and gone. We hear from you. What are your plans for this summer?
So what am I doing this summer? I'm going canvassing here in Michigan. It's going to be really exciting, and I know some of my friends are going, and I'm excited for them too.
I'm going to stay here in May and work, and then I'm going to go to Loma Linda for their Doctorate of Physical Therapy program.
This summer I'm going to a Europe Architecture Study Tour, and I'm really excited about it.
So my plans for the summer is just to stay here and study for the MCAT.
My plans are to study hard, like a good Asian boy.
When I go back home this summer, honestly my plans are just to find a job and work.
Doing construction I'm just gonna go home because I haven't seen my family in a long time.
I'm just gonna go home back to Canada, and then I'm gonna go visit my grandparents in Portugal, then summer camp. Yay!
I'll be working at a camp this summer in the horse barn and just chilling.
My plans this summer is go to a mission trip and help people.
My plans for the summer is to work in a kids camp.
I mean, summer, you gotta enjoy it, but serving others is awesome, so you guys do that too.
So Kenny, what are your plans for the summer?
Well, I'm not going home for this summer, but I hope to work some and relax a bit before coming back to all of this. What about you? What are you doing?
Hopefully something productive, working hopefully, or doing something fun sometime during the summer, but yeah.
Awesome. And that's it for another semester of AU News.
From all of us at AU News, thanks for watching. We'll see you back here next semester.
Until then, God bless. Have a great summer.